Hi. Well, today I've got two little revolvers out here. Thought we'd do a little comparison video between them. This top one here is a Smith Wesson Model 63 no dash. Made about 1980 or so. And then we have a Rossi here, which is pretty much a blatant ripoff of the Model 63. This is a Rossi Model 511. There are a few differences in them, but Rossi always did copy Smith & Wesson's pretty close. Notice Rossi does have an underlug on the barrel. Shrouded ejector rod, I mean. Well, the Smith & Wesson doesn't. The Smith & Wesson is fitted a little bit better. You see here they didn't spend a whole lot of time trying to make those grips fit the grip frame very well on that Rossi. Well, you won't see stuff like that on the Smith & Wesson. It's fitted a lot better. But they are very much close to identical in size and weight. But anyway, I'm going to shoot both of them here, and I'll do a cylinder full of them single action. And then I'll run a cylinder full through each on double action. See just how they stack up to each other. Okay, I'm going to do the Rossi first. And the Smith & Wesson. I got them loaded up again. We'll run through them double action. Just like before, the Rossi first. Now the Smith & Wesson. Both of them have good triggers, decent actions. Smith & Wesson is definitely a little bit smoother on the double action and a little bit lighter. Well, I'm going to run through them again. One thing that I forgot to mention on this Rossi is it has one chamber that's just a little bit tight. Like it was bored just a little bit out of spec. When you go to push the, drop the ammunition into a .22 revolver or any revolver, the rounds usually just drop right into the chamber. This one has one chamber that you have to kind of push the ammo into. It does fit. It does work. That's why I had this other box of ammunition out here to see if it was the same with different ammunition, and it is. Let me get this little Smith & Wesson again. The Smith Wesson definitely is a better gun, but on the other hand, you can probably get one of these little Rossies for about half the price of the Smith & Wesson too. So, is it enough better to be worth the extra cost? It all depends on what you want. The Smith & Wesson, the reason the prices have gone up so much on those is collector value, and I doubt you'll ever see too many people collecting Rossies, but here's what it is. Well, overall, I'd rate the Smith & Wesson as an excellent little gun, and the Rossi as a good one. Let's see if we get these markings to all show up here. The Smith & Wesson logo there. Your address line. Caliber. Of course, the model number is found on the frame under the crane. Fit and finish are really good on this gun. Of course, you find your serial number on the bottom of the grip frame. And on this Rossi, they could have done a better job on the fit and finish on it, but it's still not bad. Find your model number in the same place. And you got your Rossi logo, and Rossi's, well, these were imported by Inter Arms, but they're made by Rossi. You see what I mean here when they could have done a little better on their fit and finish? You wouldn't find that on the Smith & Wesson of that era. Does have a shrouded ejector rod, and where another difference between them is where the Smith & Wesson uses the front of the ejector rod as part of the lockup. The Rossi does too, but it's not quite exactly the same. Has a stainless steel sight where the Smith & Wesson has a blued sight, which makes the Smith & Wesson sights a lot easier to pick up. In general, these are, well, while it's not as good as the Smith & Wesson, you can probably have one of these for less than half the price of a Smith & Wesson. So it might actually be a better value for the money. Lately, these Smith & Wesson kit guns have been going way up in price. Especially the original model 63 no dash. Well, you can probably find one of these Rossies in real nice shape for, say, like $400. I doubt if you'd ever find one of these Smith & Wesson Model 63s for less than $1,000, and probably more than that. But just in general, they're both pretty good guns. Well, thanks for watching.